So we're going to talk about the NBA standings, what I think is going to be coming up in the next season. We're going to start in the Eastern Conference because I believe that's the more easy to decipher one, at least in comparison to the Western Conference, which I think is pretty volatile right now. So we're going to start with at number 15, the Indiana Pacers. I honestly think the Indiana Pacers are going to be here just because they made some changes. They got Buddy Hield. Last season they got Tyrese Halliburton, but I don't really think that their team is really built to win. Like Miles Turner is probably going to get traded to to the Lakers, not probably, but there's a lot of rumors out there that he might get traded along with Buddy Hield, and they'll get Russell Westbrook, and if they do that, that's just more fuel to show that they're tanking. They're going for Victor Wembanyama. I don't think Pacers fans should expect a playoff push at all, really. Number 14, we got the Detroit Pistons. Honestly, I think the Pistons are going to take a step in the right direction. I think a lot of their players are going to get better. Cade's getting better. Fucking Isaiah Stewart might get better. Who knows? I think they're taking steps in the right direction. But they're still a really young team, man, and they still have like not the best players starting. Like they got Marvin Bagley starting. Jaden Ivey's way too young. Sadiq Bey, he's getting better, but they're all just getting better right now. I think we need to wait a few 2 to 3 more years before we can really see the true strength of this lineup. Really. Number 13, we got the Orlando Magic. They were the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference last year, and I think they will get a little better because I think Paolo is really gonna do a good job and really help them out. Hopefully Markel will be back. I'm actually not certain if he'll be back, but if he is, he's gonna be a really big help for them. Um, Cole Anthony did really well last season. Jalen Suggs is getting better. Franz Wagner is getting better. Everybody's just getting better, and this a similar thing with the Pistons, where they're still a young team. They still have some years to go, especially with Ben Caro leading the charge. It's gonna take them a while, I think. Number 12, I put the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have been playing material for the past 2 years, and I don't think they'll get that this year just because of what happened with Miles Bridges. It's really unfortunate because they have a good thing going on there, but he was clearly the second best player. Like some people had him as an all-star, man, and it's really hard to say that they're going to be just as good without him. I think they're going to take a pretty significant decline, and they still have Miles Plumlee. They still have Miles Plumlee as a backup. I just don't think that's gonna, or not as a backup, as a starting center, man. I just don't think that's gonna work out very well for them. Number 11, we got the Knicks. The Knicks, they really didn't like. I don't even really know what to say about the Knicks. They got Brunson. Brunson's great. They just as of yesterday extended R.J. Barrett. I have them here because I can't really justify them being a play-in. I don't think Brunson's enough. He's not very proven that he can lead the show on his own, and I guess he won't have to lead it on his own because he has Barrett, and hopefully Randall can step it back up. But I'm just not sure that's gonna be a thing. Mitchell Robinson's gonna hold it down in the paint, but that being enough, I'm just not sold on them really. Unfortunately, because I really do think it's good for basketball when the Knicks are good. It's just a matter of like, is that realistic? Is that enough? Emmanuel Quickly's getting better, but even like I'm using the same thing I said with the Magic and the Pistons, where he's still a really young guy. I don't think he's ready to take a next step yet, personally. For the number 10, I put the Wizards. I'm actually pretty high on the Wizards. I think they will get a play-in spot. I was pretty impressed with what was going on with them with once they got Porzingis. I really like Kuzma's development in the Wizards. I think he's doing really good. Beal should have another good season. I don't know how long this is gonna last. They got Will Barton, which I think it's pretty solid, man. I think it's pretty solid that they picked him up. Their point guard spot is not looking great. They have Monte Morris right now starting at the one, and that's a bad sign, man. I don't like that. How tall Monte Morris should be, not too tall as well. He's 6'2", pairing that along with I'm pretty sure Bradley Beal 6'4", so kind of a small backcourt. I don't really like it, but they have a very tall front court, so maybe it could work out. Who knows? I think number 10 is a fairly realistic spot for them. I think they get the play in for sure. At number 9, I think this is the most controversial one. I have Bradley Beal, or not Bradley Beal. I have the Brooklyn Nets. I have the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, they're the big question mark. They're the big like, is this shit gonna work out? And I don't think it will, man. I think it's gonna be a lot more. We can coast a regular season. We don't have to worry about it. Ben Simmons isn't even playing yet. Kyrie isn't playing. Fucking, I don't even know what's going on with Kyrie. Whether he can play at the home games, whether he can't play at the home games. I don't know what's going on, quite frankly. On paper, this team is fucking brilliant. On paper, this team is beautiful. I'd love nothing more than this team to succeed and to pop off because I'm a big fan of Ben Simmons. I'm a big fan of Kyrie. I'm a big fan of Durant. But I just don't see it, man. Claxton is doing good. Harris, if he's not missing all the fucking shots in the world, he's doing great. I don't know, man. I really hope that I'm proven wrong because I really want to see Simmons' redemption story, but I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. Number 8, we got the Bulls. The Bulls have the potential to be extremely, extremely good. I think they're a really solid team. I think that I found it very difficult to justify putting them above teams like the teams above them, because based on what I saw before, I just don't know. I don't know if their front court is good enough. DeRozan had to do a lot of heroics for them to get even where they were, which was the 6th seed. I just don't see it. I don't see it panning out too well, at least in the regular season. They're a solid team. I hope that Lonzo can stay healthy and Caruso can stay healthy. I'm sure Caruso will stay healthy, but I'm scared for Lonzo mostly, and he's a very big contributor to their team. It's for them to surpass this 8 because it can happen. I can't see them getting to the 6th seed, but I would need Patrick Williams to take a good step forward, and I would need to see Lonzo stay on the court the entirety of the season. Ayo Dosunmu would be nice if he could take another step too, because he was great last season. Very impressed by Ayo Dosunmu. For the 7th seed, I have the Cavaliers. I think Cleveland is really good, honestly. I think Cleveland's great. I like what they're doing with the giant fucking 7-foot lineup. I think Darius Garland's amazing. I was really surprised by Karras. I think Karras could have done a little bit better last season, but I'm not sure. We will see. Lauri Markkanen was really impressive. Evan Mobley, especially. Jared Allen. They have a very impressive lineup. They brought back Ricky Rubio, which I honestly love. I love that they brought him back because I think at some point in the season before he got hurt, they were like Ricky Rubio and Darius Garland were statistically the best backcourt or something along those lines. Like, it was really impressive to see what they did. Yeah, no, I think they could do really well. I think they could solidify their spot in the playoffs for sure. It would be really nice to see Cleveland back in the playoffs. Number 6, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. The reason why I have them so low, because it is low, I understand that it's low. The reason why I have them so low is just because I'm not. Call me a hater. I'm not personally sold on Harden being like back to being amazing. You know what I mean? He was really good. His pick and rolls with Joel Embiid last season were good, but he's getting older, and there's cracks in the armor, man, and I'm not sure how hard he can go, especially in the regular season, man. Especially in the regular season, I'm not sure if what's going to happen there. And also Joel, when we're talking about Joel, we always have to worry about like injuries. And I guess we'll see where that goes, man. Tobias Harris has failed me on numerous. I've been hoping Tobias could make the next step for about 5 years now. He hasn't, so I'm pretty content with where he is, I guess. They got I'm sorry. PJ Tucker, same player. It's not the same player, but they got PJ Tucker, who's a really solid player. He's a winning player, championship player. He's gonna be a really, really good addition to that team, man. And the same thing with like Tyrese Maxey's gonna, it seems like he's gonna make the next step. I wouldn't be surprised if he's an all-star, honestly. Like, look out for Tyrese Maxey, but it's hard for me to justify putting them above the 6th seed, considering what the Atlanta Hawks did, who I'm putting at the 5 with DeJounte Murray. Trae Young backcourt is just fucking blows my mind, man. That shit That's crazy, you know. They still have Bojan, so they have a threat off the bench. Like it's looking really really good for them. DeJounte's kind of doing some bozo activities as of recently, but you know, on the court, he's amazing, and I really hope he shows out because you know, he's been stuck in San Antonio, not really on the best of teams. But like, I think on this team he could really shine. They could really do a lot, and hopefully the trade rumors of John Collins has settled because I really with the way the team is constructed currently, I would really prefer if they kept John Collins and they just wrote it out because I think if they write it out they could do really really well, like really 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 well. At number four, I've got the Raptors. I'm big on the Raptors, man. Toronto has the way that their starting five is structured. I think if they all stay healthy, they all play a lot. They're a solid team, man. They're a dark horse. I don't know if I would call them contender, but they could be like the Cinderella story with like Atlanta going to the or the Eastern Conference, and then Dallas going to the Western Conference. I definitely see that happening. I would be, you know, it's very impressive to see them come back, like the resilience that they had against the Sixers when they were down 3-0 and they took two games back. You know, it was a realistic possibility that they come back, that they're the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit, but it didn't happen. But they showed that resilience even from a young team, maybe not a young team because they like a lot of them were in that 2019 championship run, but you know, they got Scotty, and Scotty seems like their new, and like, you know, their new jewel, and that's like that could push him over the edge the same way Kawhi pushed him. Maybe not this season, maybe not the next season, but eventually, you know. I have really high hopes for the Toronto Raptors. Number three, I got the Miami Heat. Miami, I don't know, man. Miami is an interesting team because it's clear that Tyler Hero wants the starting role, and I don't think he should have the starting role. I think he's perfect where he is. I think they're doing a great job where he is, but I don't. At the more restlessness that happens, it's a little bit worrisome. And Kyle Lowry's getting older. You know, I don't see this team being as good as they were last year. Um, you know, they when on paper their front five isn't very appealing. You know, with Duncan Robinson at the four, Max Strus at the two. You know, it's just not. I can't see this going super well for them. But who knows? You know, the three seed is obviously still amazing, but like, I guess we have to see where this goes because let's see the development of Kyle Lowry. Let's see the development of Max Strus and of all their like gadget players. You know, because Miami, if there's one thing Miami does is get random players and just turn them into really solid role players. So I guess we'll see where that goes, man. For the two seed, I have the Boston Celtics. You know, not much to say here. The Boston Celtics obviously were at the finals last year. Very solid team. With they recently acquired Malcolm Brogdon, which is fucking amazing, man. Them with Malcolm Brogdon is crazy. You know, I think their team is really solid. I think their team's amazing. Obviously, they're amazing. I think they're going to be in a similar spot that they were last year. I just don't want to give them the one seed because for the one seed I got the Milwaukee Bucks. I just think that they're gonna roll over. I think Giannis is gonna come back. Chris Middleton's gonna come back. Drew Holiday's gonna come back, and they're gonna be a menace, man. Brooke Lopez will be healthy. You know, it'll be a healthy Milwaukee Bucks team, and I think a healthy Milwaukee Bucks team is the best team in the East. I think they got it. I think they're chilling. Now we'll move on to the Western Conference. For the Western Conference, rank 15, the 15th seed, I gotta put the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, the Thunder. You know, maybe I wouldn't have put them at the 15th seed if Chet Holmgren isn't out for the season, man. It's really unfortunate because he's an exciting player. Some people already dislike him, which is super fun, man. Super fun for the game, and the more we see. The more we see this develop, like I'm excited. I don't know what's gonna happen, because I you know, at the beginning there were rumblings of trading Shea. I don't like that. I think we keep Shea. I think we keep Giddey. I think we keep Dort. I think we keep everybody. And I think we ride that. I think if I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder, I ride out that team. You know, fuck it. We lose it. We lose this season because Chet is hurt. You know, we tank for Victor. You know, tanking for Victor. There's a few teams doing that, and I think that's a good idea because your rookie is done. I think you develop your players, keep doing what you're doing. You're hoarding the draft picks. You're chilling. You're fine. For 14, I got the Spurs. Yeah, man. Ever since they traded Dejounte Murray, it's pretty clear what they want to do. They want to tank. They don't want to. They don't want to like compete this season, which is fine. They don't have the most solid of pieces. They have Keldon Johnson. They have Jakob Poeltl, but it's just not enough to be competitive, man. And I think they understand that. And I think they're gonna tank for Victor. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's fine. I think we might see another trade from them, maybe around the trade deadline, trading one of their bigger pieces. It's a possibility, man, because Jakob Poeltl, I think he deserves to be on a roster that can win, man. I really like Jakob Poeltl. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Number 13, I got the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets were 15th last year, so like, I definitely see them taking a step forward because of the fact that Jalen Green's getting better, Kevin Porter Jr. is getting better. They have Jabari, Şengün. They're a solid young team and like similar to the Orlando Magic and similar to the Detroit Pistons. Man, they're just gonna get better but it's not now. It's not now, and I think they should just maybe not tank, but like they should rest on they should develop their players. That's what should be happening right now. Number 12 is the biggest like drop off on the list, man. It's the Utah Jazz. It's the Utah Jazz going from the 5th seed to the 12th seed. I think this Rudy Gobert trade is gonna destroy this team, man. I do not see them performing at all. Defensively, terrible. Maybe they'll trade Donovan, man. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all over in Utah. We'll see what happens because they do have Jared Vanderbilt, who's a solid player. You've been hearing rumblings of Bojan getting traded. I don't like what's going on in Utah, man. I think they're tanking, but we'll have to see, man, because it's just not looking good for them. For the 11th seed, I have the Portland Trailblazers. Dame's gonna come back, but even with Dame back, I think the team's not very great. Anthony Simons is here, Jeremy Grant's here. That's all great, but I don't think that's enough for a playoff push. I think you lost CJ. You traded CJ to the Pelicans, and it's just not a good look, man. It's not a good look at all, and it's tough because you don't really have any. Well, you obviously have the knockout piece in Damian Lillard, but like in his secondary is Jeremy Grant. I just don't really see that working out too well. I don't see Jeremy Grant as a great second option, and maybe he won't be the second option. Maybe he'll be the third option behind Anthony Simons. But for that to be the case, Anthony Simons has to continue this development that we see as possible. We see as possible, but I'm not too sold on it just yet. So that's why I have Portland at the 11th seed. At the 10th seed, I got the Sacramento Kings. That on its own is like, what? The fucking Kings in the play-ins? No chance. But no, I swear, like, I think with Herter, with fucking Sabonis, with Fox, they're a good team. I think they're solid. Maybe their bench isn't the best. They have Davion coming off the bench as a defensive threat. They're a solid team. I think they'll sneak in. I really do think they'll sneak in because their competitors aren't too impressive down here, quite frankly. Like, I think 10 to 15 just isn't that exciting. I wouldn't be shocked if Portland gets in over Sacramento. But if Portland gets in, regardless of which team makes it, they're getting bounced out by the 9th seed, the New Orleans Pelicans. Because the jump between the Pelicans and the Kings / the Trailblazers is massive. I have them really low. I really do. And I could see them going from anywhere from the 9th seed to the... honestly, I can't see them going to the 7th seed, but I can see them going to the 8th seed. I really could. But, they're a solid team. They're really good. They're really well constructed. It's just... you always have to worry about whether Zion's going to be healthy, and when he comes back, is he going to be the same Zion? If he is the same Zion, then this team could go up to the 6th seed, the 5th seed. This team would be amazing with a healthy Zion and amazingly a ready Zion. But who knows if that's going to be the case? Brandon Ingram's only getting better. He's amazing. He might be an All-Star next season. Who knows? I don't think he's ever been an All-Star. This being his first All-Star year would be incredibly impressive. CJ is there to hold it down. CJ is just like an amazing piece for this team. Really, really like helping out the team. Jose Alvarado on the bench, doing his thing. Herb Jones being the unsung hero, man. Valanciunas doing great things. This team is really well constructed, and we could really see them wreak some havoc, beat up on some high seeds, man. I could really see that. At the 8th seed, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. Maybe this is copium, man. Who knows? It's so hard when you're talking about the Lakers because they're such a moving puzzle right now. Like they just traded for Pat Bev. Will they keep Russ? If they do trade Russ, are they getting Buddy Hield, Miles Turner? If they do, then that is a very scary team, man. That is a very scary team. I'm really hoping that Davis comes back, Anthony Davis comes back and is a healthy threat. I hope LeBron, can take care of his body, be the LeBron we all know, and I think he will. The biggest question mark is the trades on Russ, and the health of Davis. I think if we can solidify that, if we can get rid of Russ, and we can get Davis extremely healthy, then this team this team goes from being like the 8th seed to being like championship contenders. Obviously, they have LeBron and Davis. It's just so hard. There's just a big question mark. I think they're the question mark of the division. It's very, very difficult to see where they will be at. That's why I'm getting a more measured approach by putting them at the 8th seed. Number 7, I have the Mavericks. Dallas is Dallas is in an interesting spot because they have to prove that Luka can run the show kind of on his own again, because or even a tougher show because he had Brunson. Brunson really stepped up in the series against the Suns. Brunson really stepped up last season, man, and now they don't have Brunson. So for Luka has to show. Luka has to do what Jokic has been doing for the past year or 2 years, where he can carry the show again. And you can argue that he carried the show last year, which he did. He was obviously the best player, but he's got a significantly I think without Brunson a worse team, and it's gonna be really hard because they do have a really good roster. They have Spencer Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock, good players, but it's really hard when he's gonna have to be the one creating all the time, and he lost his second option, so we're gonna have to see where that goes. But I see them taking a dip for sure. Number 6, we've got the Clippers. So the Clippers, I think, are going to be a big threat, championship threat, because they got their boys back, man. They got Paul George back, they get Kawhi Leonard back, and those two, when healthy, are, they're in contention. If you talk about the best duos in the league, they're there. You got to talk about them, man, especially when they're healthy. They're a scary team, man. And yeah, they got John Wall. I don't think getting John Wall changes that much, quite frankly. He might start over Reggie Jackson, but I don't think that changes that much. It's just having Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and them being healthy, they can be the best team, and they can win the whole thing. They can go as far as they want to, It's gonna be interesting to see how that stacks up. Number 5, I put the Timberwolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota, I think, is gonna be great with Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is really, really gonna activate Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. I think with maybe even D'Angelo Russell, he is like we saw in Utah. Rudy Gobert is the system, so he can really help out these honestly fairly mediocre defenders that they have in Minnesota, and it's really gonna be he's gonna in Utah. He's gonna play the same role that he did in Utah. He's gonna be the glue. He's gonna be the brick wall. He's gonna be there he's gonna allow Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns to do what they do best, which is work on the offensive end, because he's taking all the brunt, all the load on the defensive end. So I think this is a really, really amazing trade that they did. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how this stacks out. Number 4, we got the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, I don't know when we're getting Jamal back, and I'm not sure when we're getting MPJ back, but we are getting them back. And, when they're healthy, we have seen that they're a solid team. They're amazing. They can really do a lot of things. Aaron Gordon, he is who he is. I think if you pair him with MPJ and Jamal Murray, healthy, I think he's gonna play a good role. I think he's gonna look better. I think he's gonna look better in the proximity of them. I think he's gonna look great. They have KCP now, Contavious Caldwell Pope, and he's a amazing upgrade from fucking Monte Morris. Their backcourt was horrible last season, so they go from Monte Morris, Campazzo, Austin Rivers, to Jamal Murray, KCP. That's great. That's a huge upgrade. And if everybody stays healthy, this team is obviously a contender. Number 3, I got the Warriors, man. I got the Warriors. Um, they were. I think this is exactly where they were last time. Um, I don't see them. Obviously they're a contender. They're in the top 3. They're of course a contender, but I don't see them going super hard in the regular season. Maybe this is just something out of nowhere, but I think they have to watch out for health, because throughout the season they were revolving pieces low key where Draymond was out for a second, Clay was out for a second. They got to be careful with that, but they are the returning champs, so they're always a threat. They're always a contender. I think that the top 3 is just so stacked. You can really move them to the 1, them to the 2, move the next 2 down. It really just depends on what's gonna go on. Like it's very up in the air, but this is just where I feel comfortable having them. Number 2, we got the Phoenix Suns. I think the Phoenix Suns are gonna be pretty comfortable sitting here. I don't think they'll be too far back. I think the top 3 will be pretty close in terms of win percentage. They'll be pretty close. We have to see where Chris Paul goes. Obviously, Devin Booker is gonna get better. He's gonna do his thing. Miles Bridges is amazing. Hopefully DeAndre Ayton gets a little better. But yeah, no, Chris Paul. We just have to. He's like, if Chris Paul can stay Chris Paul, then this team is obviously contender. Regardless of what happened against the Mavericks, Well, we'll see, man. I don't want to count them out. They had a disgusting final game against the Mavericks, but you never count this team out, man. You never do, because this team seems really solid. And then for the 1 seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. I think Memphis is going to take another big step. Honestly, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with next season. Jaw's going to get better. Desmond Bane's going to get better. Dylan Brooks is going to get better. Everybody's going to get better. And they've shown that their cohesion together is just incredible. And just like, I think, I genuinely think that the longer that this core stays together, the just better they're going to get. Just infinitely, man. They can, the sky is the limit for this team. I really do believe so. And they just need the more experience in the playoffs. They need more experience together, and they need more experience against these tough teams. And that's all they're gonna get, because the Western Conference is stacked. Even if they are the 1 seed, if my list is projected, they play against the Lakers in the first round. That's a tough outing. First round, LeBron and Davis. Let's say it's not that. Let's say it's the Pelicans. That's a tough outing, man. And that's 2 hard-nosed, in-your-face teams going at it. That's tough, man. Like it. No matter what happens, they're gonna face some competition, and that's good for them, because I really do think that they're just gonna develop more and more and more, and they're just gonna end up being a huge force. They are contenders, man. They are contenders for sure. But let me know what you guys think about my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please, if you have any disagreements, please let me know. I'd love to have a discussion, man. Thank you guys for watching, man. If you watched throughout the whole thing, this is fucking 30 minutes. I was just rambling most of the time. I guess we'll see if this pans out, man. I really hope it does. All right, thanks guys. Appreciate you.